glory given to he who lives forever and knows all things, the mighty just God of the heavens and the earth. For he knows all, he has done all, he has revealed all, and he has all power. Blessed be his glory, mighty Jehovah. Now, family, today, the topic for today is reparations. And I'm going to say some things that I don't like. I do not like it when other groups of people, first or second or third generation people who moved to this country, and talk about the black plight. I do not like it when other races of people compare their struggle to my struggle, the struggle of my forefathers who were enslaved in this country. Now, as I look at slavery and the process of slavery, there is no other group that had an injustice so inhumane done to them through the courses of modern history. As you look back at all the slavery, you can even go farthest back to the Ottoman Empire. And that was a form of slavery, but it was, how can we say that? A servitude of a payment. Now, every other group of people who were ever came enslaved, they were never prisoners of war. After a eventual of time, they were given their freedom, their humanity back given to them. There were no other race of people in the last 500 years that was written in the book of history to where people actually knew, that actually went through the things that my people have went through. My people were prisoners of war. My people were born up in slavery. From the time they was a child, from the time that they was a young person, to a teen, to an adult, to an older person, all the way to their death, remember? There was no other group of people ever in history that has been done to. None. You can't sit here and label a people that were born in slavery. So you could never, that's why I get so mad at different races or groups when they try to compare their plight to the plight of my forefathers that had to endure and die being a slave. There is no other group that was property. There was no other group that was looked at as 3/4 of a human being. You can't sit up here and talk about, oh, well, you know, the Irish, they came over here, but that was indentured servitude, meaning they had to actually pay off a debt and then they were set free. My people were born slaves and died slaves. There's no one that you can compare us to. Okay, now when other people were enslaved, they got to keep their people. What do you mean by that? There wasn't any rape or any such things as that fashion. They were just indentured servants trying to pay off a debt. And when they paid off the debt, they were set free. If it was 10 years, it was 20 years. My people were born and died and bred and raised in this country as a slave. So you can't compare you. There's no one that you can sit up here and compare us to. All the races of groups who have ever been enslaved, they got to keep their nationhood, their identity, their country, their history, their cultures, their customs, their traditions. All of these things were taken away from my people. All of them. Our history taken from us, our language taken from us, or the land that we came from taken from us, our humanity taken from us, stripped down to be lesser than 3/4 of an actual beast of the field. So how can you compare us to anybody that has suffered some type of malice behavior done by the government of the United States when it's been documented on pieces of paper throughout our history of what our people have been and what we have done and what's have been done to us? There's no other group of people. Can you compare the Native Americans to African Americans? No, you cannot, because Native Americans have their country. Native Americans have their customs of cultures, of traditions, of histories that was never taken away from them. Native Americans were never put in slavery to the form to where they were enslaved for hundreds of years. So there is no other group that you can compare us to. I do not like it when I hear the rhetoric coming from first and second generation people who just came to this country telling me about the plight that my people had to endure for over 400 years. I don't like it, family. don't compare my people's history to a group of people that hasn't even been here for the last 80 years, that has not built up this country. There is no other group of people that was in this country that delivered all the things that we have done, family. There's no other group of people. The sweat and blood and hard work of this country back came off of the blood of my forefathers. So how do I feel about slavery? I know one way or another. One way or another, either if it's given freely or it's taken, it's gonna happen. I do know that for a fact, but I would rather for America to be alive and have the breath of life and have a pulse and not be utterly destroyed from a past injustice that was done, to make amends, to pay a tribute to the people that built this country. So it's going to me, it's going to happen either a good way, like America is given a chance, like she got a chance now. Now, this is when all the curses start falling under. Just like no differently when my people was in Egypt. No differently, the Pharaoh, he had a chance to make it right with the people, but he never did. He had one chance. How many chances did Moses come before the Pharaoh and ask him to set my people free and let us go and pay what you owe? It wasn't just letting them free. It was paying a tribute of a reparations to them as well. So just like of days of old, remember, history repeats itself. This country will be judged. So if this country will be judged, that lets me know that she's not going to be right with my people. She's not. And she's going to fall under condemnation. She's going to fall under utter annihilation because of what she's unwilling to do. Now, what happened? Moses told him 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. And as you look at the history throughout my people in this country, we've been asking, we've been telling, you know what I'm saying? You can listen to people like Eddie Griffin desecrate your ancestors all day. I'll never be that. I'll never do that. You can listen to Kanye West sit there and desecrate your forefathers, your great grandmother and your great uncles. I could never do that because that is a lie. You know what I'm saying? That is a lie. What Kanye say? He said slavery was what did he say? Slavery was an option. What did he say? What did Eddie Griffin say? Freedom to be free is a state of mind. How your grandpa gonna be free when you got a lynch mob knocking at his door that's gonna rip him out of his bed, string him up against a tree? That's not a state of mind. That's actual reality. So I could never desecrate your ancestors. I could only give you the truth on what happened. And your ancestors were walking around in the desert of sin, picking up manna so they can eat. Your ancestors, your great-grandfather and your great-grandmother disrespected the God of the heavens so much to where he sent them to America and put them in a field to pick cotton. For how long? You know what I'm saying? For how long? And y'all still don't understand who we are. That's fine. But history repeats it. I'm just telling you, history repeats itself. Just like no different from the days when our people was in Egypt. No differently. We asked, we begged, and we pled for our freedom. It never happened for us. What happened to Egypt? Never to be a strong military force throughout the world again. You know what I'm saying? Never to be a power of influence throughout the world again. You must understand this about the God of heaven. He likes to raise up someone to a high echelons of greatness. And then he will snatch that person all the way down just so the people throughout the world can know not to play with him. So history is repeating itself right now. You can think that this country is not under judgment, but history always repeats itself. What happened to our people in Egypt? Yup. Man, I'm trying to get a charge, trying to find me another one. Okay, family, I'll be back on this message. I'll be back. All glory be given to Yah.